This video covers section 3.3 slope, objective 2, find the slope of a vertical and horizontal line. Example 3. Plot the points 2, 5 and 2, -1, then draw a line through the 2 points. Find and interpret the slope of the line. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, -1. Those 2 points lie on a vertical line. And we have seen already that if both x values are 2, this is the line x equal to 2. Vertical lines have the equations x equals, where x is fixed. So when we think about the slope as the rise over the run, if we move from one point to the other, we are rising and no run. It's all rise and no run. And we can see this by plugging it into the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Since the y's are different, y2 and y1, we get -1 minus 5. And the x values are the same, giving us 2 minus 2, which is 0. So it was either rising 6 or rising -6 from one point to the other, but there was no run. We say that division by 0 is undefined. It doesn't make any sense to divide something by 0. Because if you think what it means to divide by something, a 10-foot length board, if I divide it into one piece, then it's going to stay 10 feet. 2 pieces is 5 feet. 5 pieces would be 2 feet. But if I tried to divide it into 0 pieces, it doesn't make any sense to have 0 pieces when you have a 10-foot board in front of you. So we say that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. And then we look at the flip side of that. What if the y values are exactly the same? 2, 5 and 6, 5. We know that when y is fixed, we have a horizontal line. In fact, we call it the horizontal line y equals 5. In this problem, we're all run and no rise. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0 rise. In putting it into the slope formula, y2 is 5 and y1 is 5. That's a 0 rise. We're not moving up and down. We're staying on the horizontal line. And x2 is 6 and x1 is 2, which means we ran 4. From any point on this line to another one, it would be all run and no rise. This is said to be a slope of 0. So we summarize this by saying that all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. And all vertical lines have a slope that's undefined. And it's at this point where I would like to give you a mnemonic device that helps you memorize the difference between the two. We've seen already that horizontal lines, their equations always have y equals in them because they're fixed at a y value. We've seen that vertical lines have equations that have only x in them. And now we insert their slopes in the middle of those letters. We use a 0 for O and a U for X for the vertical. And so I say hoy is the word for today in Spanish. And so today I give you this mnemonic device that hoy stands for horizontal lines have 0 slope and equations that are y equals. And this one, VUX, vertical lines have undefined slopes and have equations that are x equals. It's not a Spanish word, but if you say the word as you would pronounce it, VUX, about 5 times, it'll start to sound like a bad word. And so I will always call this the VUX. So we have OI and VUX, which will help you memorize the 0 slopes go with horizontal lines, and their equations are y equals. Undefined slopes go with vertical lines, and their equations are x equals. And we will use this later on in later videos when we find the equations of horizontal and vertical lines. The last bit that we need to memorize is that positive slopes, they rise from left to right, and negative slopes fall from left to right. This concludes the video for section 3.3, slope. Objective 2, find the slope of vertical and horizontal lines.